actually go to the climax. And then the climax is where like the most important and the most exciting thing happens. And then the following action, event 4, event 5, and is like just going down, and like the climax, or like maybe the problem in the climax is resolved. And then it's the resolution, which is how the problem is solved, and like maybe the story is ending. And then these are the 3 story arcs that I did for some of the stories that already existed. And then this is my story arc for the story that I was planning. But before that, I still had to plan out which
What's the climax?
No, this is another story, and this is my story arc, if you want to see. So my idea was to have like a very heavy fog one morning, and then like I discovered that fog was actually a portal to another like world, and then I step in, and then like you can see here, and then I get stuck inside because the portal moves every day, and I didn't know that. And then I get stuck inside, and then my adventure is that I have to go find the portal again before it moves again, so I can go back home. And then my ending is that I finally find the portal and it goes back to Earth. So yeah. And then after
Amazing story.
How did you think of the portal?
so I basically here I first we brainstormed which small moments that could be really good for like the fantasy writing and stuff. So I brainstormed heavy fog one morning, going to a volcano with steam, front door to the house shattered in a typhoon, and swimming in the sea and getting bit in the lip by a fish. But then I chose heavy fog one morning, and then my fantasy element, I had to add a fantasy element, was portals to another world. And then I wrote a short blurb for it, and then I just continued on with this.
You wrote a lot, Carol.
Yeah, and then so we had 2 lessons to write 4 to 6 pages, and
4 to 6 pages.
Yeah, and then we had another lesson to edit and try to revise. But then sadly I couldn't finish it because so basically here was my introduction and how I got to the portals. Here is all the building up, and then here is starting the climax. But
Oh.
then it's finished.
And then that's where
I did finish it.
you didn't yet.
No.
Are you still writing it, or it's the exercise is done?
If you want to read it,
I want to read it.
For the editing and revising, I circled
want to
this
read
part.
it. So can we sit here so it's easier to read? Can we sit here?
Circled here because I thought this introduction was a little bit boring, and this I wanted to describe what Emmy looks like so you guys can read it.
Heavy fog covering the car park. Sorry.
For editing, we have something called an editor's eye. So
Sit there, Carol. Yeah. Take your time. Okay? Because you can really talk about complexity of writing, think about what we're trying to do to take your writing to the next level.
So for the editor's eye, we like choose approximately like a short paragraph, maybe 5 to 7 sentences, like this I chose here, and then I figured
You choose what again? Sorry.
a short paragraph, for example, like 5 to 7 sentences, and then I circle it and then write what I want to improve with it. So here, and I wrote that I circled here, and I wrote I wanted to write a better and catchier lead that can also explain how I got into the portal and how I discovered the portal. And then, but I was still writing it, so I really didn't.
What is an editor's eye?
An editor's eye is kind of like you use like I know it, but I don't know how to explain it. It is to use the revising and editing part of the writing process to ask for help on a specific element of narrative.
It's a fantasy writing checklist.
Yeah, this is the fantasy writing checklist.
Oh.
Because I didn't finish it, so I couldn't really do
Fantasy writing checklist.
yeah, there's
Oh.
like the overall, the lead, the transitions, the endings, and the organization. But sadly, because I didn't finish it, I couldn't do the ending.
Ending, yeah.
So for my lead, I wrote a beginning in which I only showed what was happening and where, but also gave some clues to what would later become a problem for the main character. I didn't really write that the portal would move every 24 hours in my fantasy beginning, so I just wrote starting to. I did half of it, and then I used transition phrases to show the passage of time in complicated ways, perhaps by showing things happening at the same time. Meanwhile, at the same time, or flashback and flash forward early that morning, 3 hours later, I used some type of transition. For example,
你借咗咁多，你都冇俾媽咪睇之前。I love to read。你下次交之前同媽咪講，今晚有嘢俾你睇啊嘛。
Okay. For example, I woke up the next morning, and then stuff like that, and after that.
And then.
No, after that, then the next morning, it's just 2 hours later, stuff like that. And then for the ending, I couldn't do it. Organization, I use paragraphs to separate different parts
Kung may
of times of the
講
story
慢啲
and to
清楚
show
少少
when
聽。
a new character was speaking. Some parts of the story were longer and more developed than others. I ticked yes because, for example, in my lead, I wrote a lot, and then for example here, I only wrote like the dialogue, and here I wrote a lot, and here I barely wrote any. But yeah.
Oh, station 1完咗，8 minutes for each station。
Oh, 8 minutes.
係啦，8 minutes for each session。
Okay. Then the second